happening at this point. There's so many weird, conflicting, nonsensical bullshit going on there. I don't even know what that is.
And those are the three
I couldn't tell anybody what the fuck happened at the back end of that.
And of the three, the hippie woo shit is probably the least destructful. Maybe. Jordan.
Is this from a YouTube video? He chose to clip it like this? Yeah. It's on his channel. It's his channel.
Peterson too. Well, Jordan Peterson is kind of in between two of them. Jordan Peterson is kind of like a mix of the Sigma male. Yep. Actually, I feel like Jordan Peterson is directly in the center, right? Because there is some woo shit in there. There is some woo shit. But there's also some manosphere type stuff. And then there's also some Sigma male, gate grind, keep boss, Sigma. Have I ever actually gone over the rules for life? I don't think I actually have. Yeah. These are JP's first 12 rules for life. Which, by the way, if these are the 12 rules, I don't know how you can make another 12 rules that you just so happen to crank out in a book right after you got into financial trouble because you went to Russia for experimental brain stuff and your daughter runs everything in your life and you're dying because you only eat meat. You know? So, seems like they may have cranked that one out. But, like, what are the vibes we're getting at here? Let's identify. Vaush, self-help expert, Sigma male, it is known. Throwing it out there. We're rating Jordan Peterson's 14 rules for life. 14 24. Here's the 12 rules, okay? Stand up straight with your shoulders back.
Posture check!
Good posture advice.
Posture check!
Probably a confidence thing, right? You know? It's not so much about good posture as it is about holding frame.
Stop.
No, in reality, I think it's about like taking yourself seriously in public areas. By the way, good rule. Good rule.
I like it.
I'm rating it. Good rule.
I want to see what he. I want to see what he disagrees with.
A lot of people when they're in public spaces, they slouch a little bit, and it's not just a posture thing. The posture is important. It's also about having the confidence to take up physical space. Everybody has the right, physically and metaphysically, to take up physical space in the area that they're around. Everybody does. Some people, they just try to avoid notice. They're apologetic with their behavior. You know, the way they look, the way they act, the way they talk. But you should. You should have your shoulders, you know, your shoulders back. You should stand up straight. You should look people in the eye when you talk to them. And you should speak loudly so that people can hear you, you know? Nothing bothered me more when I was doing a service job when I saw some, like, really sad sack, like, you know, depressive person come in, and they would, like, talk too quiet for me to hear them. And, like, I get that they're going through stuff. I'm not going to blame them for it, but, like, you ask them to speak up, and you can tell that they're dying inside being asked to speak up, you know what I mean? But that's the thing. Even if you have, like, social anxiety or whatever, if you speak so quietly that people are going to ask you to speak up, you're going to have to do it anyway. You might as well start confident enough to open with the big boy voice. You know what I'm saying?
Jordan Peterson rule. What is that meme? Jordan Peterson's rules. Wait, why isn't it reading it also? Jordan Peterson's rules helped me become a good, contributing citizen. Now I'm a... Thanks for the 11 months, book fucker.
That's that confidence thing. Not just about posture. Treat yourself like you are someone you are responsible for helping. I unironically think this is excellent advice. I actually think this is like 10 out of 10, you know? One of the big issues people have is that they're so down on themselves that they don't treat themselves with the same respect they would treat other people. But you should always be your first priority. I mean, unless you're like a parent with kids or whatever. But I mean, when it comes to like dealing with your life day to day, like you're the vessel. You know what they say, even when a plane's going down and the oxygen masks drop from the ceiling, you help yourself before the next person. You know why? Because if you're trying to put a mask on somebody else, but you're not getting any air yourself, you might pass out before you help them, and then you're fucking dead, you know? Especially if you give it to like a kid. What's a 4-year-old gonna put a mask on you? Get real. No, ridiculous. Yeah, everyone say a thing you like about yourself. Get in there. Come on, post in chat. Yeah, get in there. Anyway, very important.
What do I like about myself? I like that I play video games as much as I do. Pretty fun.
Treat yourself, your mind, and your body like something that's on loan to you from like future you. You know what I mean? It's like this constant ongoing cycle of ownership that you're only occupying a very brief temporal period for. Because everyone always says, you know, oh, whatever, if I do this, it's gonna be my older self who suffers the consequences. Don't be stupid. Your older self is you. In the future, do you not realize? Oh, if I do that, this is a problem for future me. You are future you. It's not a different person. It's you. Be careful, folks. Make friends with people who want the best for you. Yep, easy stuff. No problems here. Compare yourself to who you were yesterday, not to someone else, not to who somebody else is today. Like that too. You're the person you should compare yourself to. Self-improvement, big stuff, okay? Think of your favorite story, okay? Who here has read or watched Lord of the Rings, okay? How highly do you think of Samwise Gamgee and Frodo last name? Oh, I think they're... Baggins, yeah, there we go. Sorry, it slipped my mind. Personally, I think they're kings. Now, do you think it bothers them that they're not as tall or strong or as fast or as smart as many of the other characters? It shouldn't. They had their own hero stories, okay? They did their own whole thing. Nice. Yes? Anybody who thinks they're bothered by that does not know how hobbits work in the Tolkien universe. The whole point was that their own personal journey from humble beginnings, okay? It's very pog, all right? Get in it, people. Do not let your children do anything that makes you dislike them. That's a weird one. I don't know if I agree about that. What does that even mean?
Don't
do
let
not
your children
let your children do anything that makes you dislike them? Wait, okay, so this is a very interesting, funny for Jordan Peterson, who's supposed to be the master of personal responsibility, makes you dislike them. You have control over how you interpret other people. So why is it that you assign infinite control over your children from you, but you don't talk about the control you have over your own reaction to your children's behavior? Maybe if your child does something you dislike, the problem is with you. Maybe you need to adjust your standards or values. This is some control freak shit. It's authoritarianism for sure. Yeah, and like, what is this?
Whoa! I wouldn't jump there so fucking fast, okay? I understand it could be a... Yo, what? We broke our neck on that one. Holy shit. Jesus Christ, dude. I'm fucking vibing, bro. I was chilling, man. I wasn't expecting me to have to jump in so rapidly on that one. Okay, so I'm gonna hit us with a quick one. Okay. No. There could be circumstances where in which your kids are doing something that would make you dislike them, and I don't really like the word dislike. Maybe he's getting at something else here, but like, essentially, I think the spirit of it is that try to not put yourself in a position where you're condoning certain conditions that would enable your kids to do things that would make you hate them, essentially, right? If you end up hating your kids or can't stand the idea of being around your kids, that's really gonna fuck them up, and that's gonna fuck you up, okay? And so trying to avoid that by whatever means you can, probably something that like makes some sense. But the implications I understand of this are very controlling and overbearing, and would probably lead parents to doing some cringe shit. But like, I think that's probably the spirit of it.
Mean like, don't let your kids be gay? Lots of people don't like gay people. Like, what do you mean? Like, conversion therapy? What is the consequence of this? If your kid does stuff...
Conversion therapy he even went to? Listen, okay. Fuck it, I guess we're just going full torque. We're going full memes. Jordan Peterson likes conversion therapy. I don't know. Good faith Vaush, as always.
That you dislike.
Good faith Vaush.
That's just part of life, dude. Kids are real ass...
Nah, it's just... I think he can be good faith in certain moments. This just isn't it. I don't think that it's good faith to say that because of that he supports conversion therapy.
People. Like, they're going to be annoying. You're not going to like every element of your kid, right? Because they're other people. They're not like miniature versions of you. Even my best friends do things that make me dislike them sometimes. So why would a kid be any different? Set your house in perfect order before you criticize the world. This one is so bad for so many reasons. First of all, it's hypocritical because he wrote this while his life was an absolute shambles in the background. Second of all...
That is pretty true. Now, you would need to look at the content of that chapter to be able to get whether or not it is true on but it is true on the face of the name of the chapter. But I think you should have some things in order before you not criticize the world, before you take a look at the world and judge it really harshly. And the reason why is because when your life is in disarray or what have you, it can cause you to have certain attitudes towards certain things that you otherwise might not have. Look at the example. A rich person might come to the conclusion that being rich is not a good thing because of the rates of suicide amongst the people that are like rich white men and shit like that, or affluent white men, and could look at their current conditions and like of, let's say, not having a good relationship and shit like that, and say therefore rich people have it worse than poor people. However, if you get your life in order, meaning that like if you put yourself on a track where in which you're enjoying life or think that life is okay, you may realize that...
Get your room in perfect order before criticizing Vaush FB block.
My bed is unmade. I'm already fucking up the rules. Yeah, you could be more prone to looking at the privileges that you have if the problems with your life aren't staring you in the face. So I think this could be okay.
This is the this is one of those tenets where he's trying to push like social conservatism. Essentially, the idea is you don't have the right to change the world until you have addressed whatever problems there are in your personal life. The problem is problems in your personal life are often caused by problems in the world. Poverty and stress cause massive problems in your personal life, but they're also systemic problems which can be fixed with government policy.
I understand if you're reading this in a conservative way. I don't think that's necessary to set your house. Well, maybe if we're talking perfect order. This is the book
equivalent of reading the headline.
It is the book equivalent of reading the headline. That is true. That's what we're doing. But we like to have a little bit of fun. Set your house in perfect order for me. I mean, I'm somebody who grew up poor. I'm somebody who currently, by the definition of poverty, am in poverty. But I mean, I'd say my house is in pretty fucking perfect order. I love living. I love life so fucking much. My biggest fears is easily that I'm like gonna get sick and shit like that, and not because of the health bill or anything like that, but that I just might not recover or I might miss days of streaming and things that I love doing. I love life so fucking much right now. I'm easily like one of the most privileged people on the planet Earth, even though I'm in poverty. And I 100% believe that to be the case. It'd be a hard sell to sell me otherwise. I would say my house is in pretty damn close to perfect order. And I would say that has absolutely affected my political positions on like other things. Like, for instance, the privileges that I just mentioned. There are people with billions of dollars that live a less privileged life than me. And understanding how that works and shit like that, instead of like looking at a big glaring issue like money or what have you, and saying that therefore like this is the root of all problems. It's like race doesn't matter, none of this matters, the only thing that matters is class. Like, some of this can absolutely help. Yeah, some of it can really fucking help. The way that I read this is a little bit different. Essentially, the way that I read this is set yourself in a position that you can understand or be critical of the world without having your personal house, your personal life contradict or get in a way of biasing your criticism of the world. That's the way that I kind of read that, if I'm being good faith.
Likewise, Jordan Peterson has reached tens of millions of people, and his life was an absolute shambles. So what does that say about him? Does he actually believe this, or does he just want other people to follow it? The implication here fundamentally is that unless all of your life is already taken care of, which kind of implicitly suggests that you're wealthy and like normatively successful, you don't have the right to change the world. I mean, this is fundamentally the same argument that people made about landowners being the only ones who should be able to vote. Because back in the day, the idea was that only the most affluent and successful in society should be allowed the privilege of determining the direction the government goes. This is basically a modern-day version of that rule, saying that only the privileged, or those privileged enough to have at least overcome personal problems that they deal with, should be the ones to actually like go forward and change things. Yes, it's a big meme. JP gets made fun of a lot for stuff like this, and I think it's totally fair. Dude's a hypocrite. Very cringe. Not good. Very bad. Pursue what is meaningful, not what is expedient. I guess this is fine, but it's also kind of meaningless. Pursue what is meaningful is a pretty vacuous statement. I mean, I guess, like, you might as well write, like, do things that are good. It also doesn't make much of a distinction between what is meaningful to you and what is, like, meaningful to Jordan Peterson, you know? Pursue what is meaningful.
Did you watch the new Destiny Friends video? Like, I have not
What does that even mean? Number 8, tell the truth or at least don't lie. Sure. Okay. Number 9, assume the person you're listening to might know something you don't. I think that's good. I think that's generally a good thing to believe. This is basically just the principle of charity. Number 10, be precise in your speech. Again, the idea that Jordan Peterson would say this is so funny to me. Have you ever listened to this guy talk? He speaks in such long, rambling, meaningless, like, anecdotal diatribes. I
actually don't think that's necessarily true. I think what you could say is that he is a rambler, but I don't think what you could say is that he lacks precision. Unless you consider those to be one and the same. I think he over-explains topics quite often. And overdoes it with the clock and the I can't do it, Jordan Peterson, with the like clock inside of the gator's stomach and why it resembles their understanding of this, going into that for like 9 hours and shit like that. I feel like you can make the argument he over-explains things, but I don't think because you over-explain things means that you are less precise. Yeah, the postmodern neo-Marxist, depends what he's talking about. Sometimes he definitely gets lost in the weeds. For sure. JP women at the workplace take? I think he was precise in his speech. I just don't think it was right. Is that a controversial claim? I think Jordan Peterson's women at the workplace take was pretty precise. He just was not correct. Like, You know? This is really the perfect representative video for Vaush. He's talking about stuff he doesn't know shit about since he didn't read the book and just assumes some dumb fuck shit. I don't know. Yeah, you're right that he hasn't read the book and he is making large assumptions about a book he hasn't read. Of course, you're correct. However, I think that what you could look at is that Jordan Peterson has a lot of footage that Vaush has seen in regards to a lot of these topics. Jordan Peterson trying to be everyone's slightly off-base dad. Yeah. I'm literally holding the book right now, and Vaush is 100% off on everything he's inferring. What makes you say... So from your read, Rabid Wombat, if you've read the book, from your read, what are all of these sections actually about? Oftentimes, if people disagree with somebody, they will be quick to stick any negative character. Well, yeah, obviously. What do you think his women in the workplace take is? His women in the workplace take, if I remember correctly, and I'm ready to be wrong, is that women in the workplace are distracting towards men, and some of the ways that Hollywood and the media is encouraging people or women to dress or to act could be distracting towards people, not just, well, I think maybe he did. But his argument would be people inside of the workplace and shit like that, and feminists don't talk about that. Feminists don't talk about the ways that the workplace are evolving as a result of feminism and shit like that, and how he thinks that that could present as a problem. Am I correct? If you're criticizing JP, no. Where did you get that from? Literally him, the Vice interview. We could watch it again. Vice, Jordan Peterson. Up.
Here's a question.
Well, I posed.
Here's a question. Let's have a real question. Can men and women work together in the workplace?
Yes, I do it.
How do you know?
Because I work with a lot of women.
Right. Well, it's been happening for what, 40 years? And things are deteriorating very rapidly at the moment in terms of the relationships between men and women. It's like we don't know if men and women can work together successfully.
But in what ways? Because
in the sexual harassment way.
Because 40 years ago I would have been, well, I don't know, if I was a white man, I would have been Jacqueline's boss and I could have done whatever I wanted, right? And that there would be almost no recourse that a woman who's working under me would have. Now they have some recourse. I mean, is that
There's recourse back then too. You could take people to the police.
Do you think that was happening a lot? I mean, like,
I think it's a dreadful thing to have to go to the police and be sexually assaulted.
If you feel like there's a reduction in harm, right?
I've never seen this interview. Is this not the interview that 90% of people reference when they're talking about Jordan Peterson's take on like women in the workplace and makeup in the workplace? It is? This was literally memed on Twitter and had millions of views. I don't know how you couldn't have seen this.
Right now, the atmosphere...
I haven't seen this either. Wait, okay, I'm actually about to freak out on you two dumb fucks. So the two fucking idiots in my chat room that said that I was wrong about his fucking take haven't even seen the video that is his most renowned fucking video on women in the workplace? I swear to God, holy fucking shit. Jesus, mother of God, you fucking dumb fucks.
Corporate workplace is the exact same that was 4 years ago?
No,
holy fucking shit.
I'm not saying that it's any better.
It's not any better.
Well, maybe it is.
I guess, not to ask you to sort of prove a negative, but I think that there's plenty of evidence if you look at all the stories that are coming out. Do you not feel like any of the stories that you've heard about what Hollywood is like?
This one is the famous one? That one isn't the famous one for women in the workplace. That's about the gender pay gap. Don't trigger me anymore. I swear to God, I'm at my fucking limits. The gender pay gap isn't the same as women in the workplace. Don't fucking trigger me any more than I already am. Holy fucking shit.
Evidence that Hollywood is a problem?
Yeah.
Yeah, but when I look at Hollywood, all these people coming out of Hollywood talking about how sexual misbehavior is a problem, and I think people in Hollywood are talking about that, they've been capitalizing on sexual misbehavior for like 100 years.
But that, I mean, look, those are unrelated in a lot of ways. Yeah, like you as a professor should know like about correlation and causation. Like you're basically saying, well, there have been movies with sex in it, therefore a PA on the set of a movie, of course, should be expected to be sexually harassed.
No, I'm saying
those two are separate worlds in any sort of pure logical sense. Like that is just a classic mix-up of correlation.
Why are they separate worlds? We don't know how to draw the boundaries. So here's the question.
You feel like any movie that has, like, if you talk about sex in your classroom, or if you talk about sort of sexual behavior in your classroom, and another classroom does not talk about sexual behavior at all, you feel like your classroom would have a higher chance or higher incidence rate of sexual assault or harassment.
No, but I would say that if I was part of an organization that built entire dozens of careers on sexual provocativeness, I'd be very careful about like waving the ethical flag in the sexual wars. So you think Hollywood doesn't exploit sex? Hasn't the feminists been saying that for 30 years? The entire entertainment industry does nothing but exploit women sexually. Is that true or not? And if it is true, then aren't they contributing to the problem? And if they're contributing to the problem, then where's all the ethical?
But you're arguing at that point that Hollywood is one sort of totemic idea, that it is one sort of that a woman who works in entertainment must then like pledge allegiance to this idea of a sort of totemic Hollywood and not come out and give her story. Like you're saying that like that she's like somehow complicit in all of it.
The degree to which we're all complicit in what's going on is unspecified. I said already, we don't know how to have an adult conversation about sex. It's not surprising. It's not the least bit surprising. So, but
so then what is it then? Like, because this seems to be like a sort of collectivist thing that you realize.
JP literally saying all men are predators and can't work with women? Right, that's the meme. We talked about how men's attire has changed and he refuses to acknowledge that as being an issue, and it's kind of weird. The fact that I can walk around, with my arms showing or in my muscles showing or whatever, right? Something, not even just women, but women and men might get distracted by or what have you. Even if you're like just a dude that's huge, you're just a fucking fridge, a walking goddamn like 6'5", 6'6" fucking fridge. You could be a distracting person as a like distracting is not a good argument, especially when it also comes to sexual distraction, because it's like, dude, like we're adults. We've been around hot people before. We'll live, okay? A hot person's inside of her fucking workplace wearing makeup will live. Trust me.
Against you're saying that Hollywood is one thing and that Hollywood made its own bed and therefore Hollywood should not.
Rabbit Wombat is in
Rella
Discord.
Looks so cute
Wait, for
today.
what?
Everyone in chat should talk about how cute Rella is today. Smile.
Wait, why? What issue does me and Rabbit Wombat have? Wait, why? You asked about the rules? Oh! Yo.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can indeed, young one. All right.
Cool. I just want to jump in real quick because it's easier than mucho texto in the chat there. I wanted to discuss specifically the rule about children, just because I think that's the one that he got wrong the most simply by not reading it. And in all honesty, it's the only one that I really know off by heart because it's such a personally relevant one for me.
Okay.
So I wouldn't feel comfortable talking about one of the other ones. So when we looked at it, and I think it's because we were a little bit off on it in chat as well too, when he's talking about don't let your kids do anything that will make you hate them, it's because as a parent, no one's going to love your kids more than you. And if you're watching in the book, he gives an example of a mother that takes her kid out onto a playground and the kid starts shoving other kids down. And she does nothing about it, really just pulls him in and says, oh, please, no, don't do that. But at the same time, is hugging him and is not doing anything to correct this negative behavior that even she doesn't like. But down the road, by not correcting that, she's setting her kid up for failure with other kids socially. So if you're already looking at your kid and they're doing something terrible in your eyes, and you're not going to correct it, and you're the one who's obligated to do it morally, then what are you setting them up for in the future?
Right, so, okay. I forget what my take was. I think my take was more about, like, or not my take, my thought of where he was going with it was, like you don't want to get to the point where you hate your kids. Not that. Then, could I not make the argument that, like, the way that the chapter is labeled is pretty fucking shit? Because I would say if that's the point, is to not make your kids, to not set up your kids for failure, I don't know why you would put don't let your kids do anything that makes you dislike them. Instead, you would put, like, don't let your kids do anything that you think would make for a shitty person, but, like, put obviously in a, I'm not a writer, put in a way a writer would do it.
Yeah, I agree. I think the reason he chose that title is because parent your children, as Lefty Grifter says in the chat, is more accurate, but it's what everyone says on every article ever out there, right? And so I think it might just pass through people's ears. And he was trying to grab attention. But exactly what happened here is what's going to happen. Someone's just going to read the title without reading, the 300, 500 words underneath it to see exactly what that is supposed to mean, and they're going to misconstrue it.
As lazy noob caught, I was about to get to it. Don't you think that's a little little awkward though? Like coming as the one. What is that? 5 points before be precise in your speech. I think that's pretty. I think that's pretty funny.
Yeah. Oh, totally. Right. He's breaking his own leader rule here with this. Probably on the advice of an editor.
Yeah. Exactly.
Paying him millions of dollars. So I would probably give on the title too.
Yeah. I understand. I'm not trying to say that like that you're wrong or anything like that on that. It would definitely make a lot of fucking sense, and the incentives are obviously there. I know about that much, but like, okay. Thank you for giving that added context.
That's why I thought, the assumptions. I mean, they're totally within bounds based on the limited information, right? But there is a valuable lesson underneath this one too, that he's not doing himself any justice with that title.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
Cool.
All right.
Thanks for letting me jump on.
Yep, for sure. You have a good one. Thanks. That's cool. I wouldn't have guessed that. Like, I tried to guess that, and I tried to guess what he meant, and I was incorrect. So, that's why he's precise in his speech. That's why he's always vague enough that nobody can be good faith and can accept his later clarification and nuances. You can't really pin him down on anything undeniably egregious that he has said. I don't think that's true. I think he does make pretty broad statements, but he has said some pretty not poggers things. That's what his Rule 11 was about, letting children explore their limits when it comes to some things. Don't bother children when they are skateboarding. I see.
Is so long-winded and word-salady. And so much of the stuff that he says, by the way, is like kind of philosophically bankrupt as well. Like a lot of the ideas that he's trying to express politically, historically, philosophically are really dumb, but he dresses it up in such flowery language that it becomes really difficult to understand what he's saying, and that's why a lot of people respect him. Yeah, academically incorrect as well, for sure. Do not bother children when they're skateboarding. Good idea, no problems here. And pet a cat when you encounter one on the street. Also, extremely good, no problems here. Very good. Absolutely. No problems with these last two, might be the best ones there. And then we got Beyond Order, which is the next 12
What is
rules
the
for life,
pet a cat? What is
the
that?
banger sequel that he threw out there. 432 pages, my goodness. Well, do not carelessly denigrate social institutions or creative achievement. So, I like this one nominally. I like this one as it's written, but there is an interesting implication here. Do not carelessly denigrate social institutions. Well, what does Jordan Peterson consider to be a careless denigration? You know what I mean? Because I agree, whenever you're denigrating anything, you should be careful about it. But the problem is that Jordan Peterson has compared like trans activists to Mao Zedong, you know? He's compared progressives to Stalin.
Probably live in the moment or some shit.
Their ideologies are identical. So he constantly and incredibly carelessly denigrates social institutions and forces he disagrees with him. Remember when he lied about Bill C-16? Just completely bald-facedly lied about it? Like, he does this all the time. So what does he mean when he says, don't carefully denigrate social institutions? Well, to me, it sounds like he's saying, you fools, you postmodern neo-Marxists, you don't understand what Western civilization has done for you. Like, that's what it sounds like to me. It sounds like he's essentially saying, you have no idea what you're doing. You know, like, that thing. Number 2, imagine who you could be and then aim single-mindedly at that. This is incredibly stupid. This is actually, I would actually go so far as to say this is very bad advice, okay? Imagining who you could be is not the same as, like, envisioning the best version of yourself. Those are very different things. This isn't the...
I think that's probably what he's saying, though. If I had to give a read, that's probably what he's saying, though. I read this like, imagine, like, the best version of yourself. Imagine who you would want to be, who you think you could be, and then aim for that goal. I mean, this is literally like, this shouldn't even be in a book. Like, everybody says this.
Same as follow your dreams. The problem is that imagining who you could be is often like a process informing an almost cartoonishly characterized version of yourself. Imagining who you could be, like, what does that mean? What does could be mean? Like something that's achievable in a 1 in a million shot, or something that is realistic? This could be a very self-destructive process. Do not hide unwanted things in the fog. Okay. Like I said, this is the follow-up book, so these rules weren't thought through.
Wicked Supreme, if I remember correctly, does a pretty decent.
Don't do
Peterson.
that. Avoid
Maybe
doing
it's somebody
that.
else.
Allegorically, I'm guessing, this means like don't bury your trauma or whatever. And
I don't remember.
Great, sure. You know, do you feel like this might be a little bit self-reporting after the whole Benzos incident? You know what I mean? Like after he spent like years drifting mindlessly through drug fog in his brain. You know, he's like coming out of that. Yeah, he's got a lot of fog in his head. And he's like, don't, like he woke up somewhere on like a Russian operating table. Don't hide the fog. You must avoid the fog. And then he like fell back asleep for 6 months. And then somebody reminded him of that when he woke up and he was like, Then he wrote the other.
Christ.
Yeah, what happened to being precise with your
Jesus
speech?
Christ.
All right. Notice that opportunity lurks where responsibility has been abdicated. This is fine. If people shirk their responsibilities, that means there's an opportunity to do something there. You can make an argument for this economically, where if people aren't doing something that needs to be done, there might be an economic opportunity there.
Yeah.
But you can also talk about this like in a civic or like virtuous sense, you know? Like an opportunity to be virtuous exists where responsibility has been abdicated. I think that's fine. I don't think there's anything wrong there. Of course, there are ways to say this that are like annoying and a product of social conservatism, but fundamentally, I don't think there's anything wrong with the rule. Do not do what you hate. Damn! JP. I should write some, you know? Hold on.
Cats
I don't
are
know,
liquid? Wait, what?
This feels easy. You
Wait,
know what I
what
mean?
is this? Cats are liquid? What is this? Cats are liquid?
There we go. Does this not feel phoned in? Do not do what you hate. Seriously? Okay. Number 6, abandon
They
ideology.
are.
I love this one. So this is why
The
you can
joke
safely
about
laugh
how
at anything and
flexible
everything that
cats
Jordan
are.
Peterson has to say ever
Cats
for
are
anything,
liquid.
okay? This is ideology. You are literally consuming ideology as you read this book, okay? This is the pure distilled wubba-lubba-dub-dub energy of the kind of like...
I'm assuming when he says abandoned ideology, what he's talking about is abandoned dogma. I'm about 70% sure he's talking about dogma.
sophist, like anti-intellectual, anti-SJW, who legitimately believes everything they believe is product of some kind of pure reason.
Wrong.
The funny thing is, Jordan Peterson doesn't even advocate for pure reason. He doesn't. He explicitly frames his worldview in a framework of his ideology. He explicitly talks about Judeo-Christian values and Western civilization informing the things he believes. He himself breaks this rule. What does this mean, abandon ideology? The most charitable thing that you could derive from this is try to arrive at your positions through, like, strong reasoning, not just because they correlate to the beliefs that people who already hold your ideology hold, but that's not what he's saying. He's saying abandon ideology, you know? And by the way, the implication from this is pretty...
God damn, is he supposed to write a 4-sentence goddamn paragraph for a goddamn chapter title?
clear, because you know what he's really saying. Abandon, like, SJW ideology. Because what he's saying isn't ideology. You know, when Black Lives Matter and feminists and postmodern cultural Marxists or whatever, when they spill their dogma, that's ideology. But when Jordan Peterson talks, he's just talking. It's a whole other thing, you know? Work as hard as you possibly can on at least one thing and see what happens. Okay? Seriously? Again, like, all right, see what happens? That's the fruit you get to eat after all that? Try to make one room in your home as beautiful as possible. Here we get clean your room, just read rest. Try to make one room in your home as beautiful as possible. I guess that's fine advice. It is nice to have a sort of
honestly, rule number 7, work as hard as you possibly can on at least one thing and see what happens. This shit kind of worked for me. I'm not sure how he describes it, but like, that's what I really did is like, after I realized school wasn't for me, I was like, yo, I need to try things to make money, period. Because school isn't going to work out. I'm going to be like a fucking busboy my entire life, which honestly didn't upset me too great. But like I have an opportunity to just try a bunch of shit before I run out of money. And so I did. I tried like a whole host of things. Like music production was something I kind of wanted to do. I kind of wanted to do YouTube.
The nuance Vaush may be looking for might be in the book he isn't reading.
Nice. And then now here I am on streaming, and I tried doing this, you know, for years and shit like that. Tried my hardest to do so because it's what I found that I thought I would love the most. And I think I'm right. I really love streaming. This is really fucking enjoyable. The only thing that at the moment I'm not elated with on stream is that I feel as though playing games is detrimental to my stream and my growth. And shit like that. And at this point, I don't think I can do anything that's detrimental to my growth, because even though I do have a crazy, you know, amount of people that watch me, I still like living in poverty. So I should probably work on getting at least like near middle class, or at least, you know, upper lower class before I make such hard commitment. That's it. I just want to play more games on stream. When I can play games on stream viably, I'll probably stream like 12 hours a day. I want to do that
to your house
really bad.
But yeah, I don't. Okay, if old memories still upset you, write them down carefully and completely.
I'll watch you play.
Into your journal.
Everybody in my chat says I'll watch you play games, but then as soon as I do, 80% of you leave.
I think this is okay advice,
Slim
right?
Tim,
I think
thank you for the follow. I like your name.
I think that oftentimes, like, talking about things that are bothering you can be very helpful.
Bro,
you
your
know?
name isn't Slim Tim, it's SLT. It's SL Tim. Why did I think your name was Slim? Did I just have a stroke? I don't know what's happening.
And talking about it sometimes means just expressing it, and even if expressing it is just to yourself, I think that's good. I think the thing is, like, human thoughts are really scattered unless we have something coherent to lock onto. You know
Depends
what I mean?
on the game. I watch DD2. I'm gonna play DD2.
That's why the
We'll
development of language furthered human thought. Because if you don't have a language to organize your thoughts around, it can be really difficult to keep coherent thoughts in your head outside of like really immediate stuff. Philosophy needed language, essentially. So if you just like have a bunch of bullshit that's bothering you, like memories or trauma or whatever else, sometimes it can be really tough
what's
to focus
Destiny's
on those
third
things,
channel?
them, like, in a
I
vacuum,
only know
you know?
of Destiny and Bestiny. What's Destiny's third channel?
Like you're gathering little memories, but others sort of fly out of your grip and so on. That's really, really difficult. Another way to put this is, at least in my mind, I have a much easier time understanding a point or believing something or learning something whenever I'm debating it or explaining it myself, you know? Talking to you guys about a thing helps sort of
the Destiny
form
Vault?
together and make coherent my own thoughts.
No, Destiny and Friends.
Some people learn the best by teaching, you know. There's a lot that goes into that.
Destiny and
so,
Friends is
writing something
separate.
down can be a good way of ordering all your thoughts in a way that is coherent and allows you to sort of read them all out, repeat them, get everything out of your brain. I think that's effective, you know? Everyone get that? I think that's reasonable.
There might be a balance
Plan and
you
work
can
diligently
strike.
to maintain
Games
the romance
that allow
in your
you to watch
relationship.
vids at the same time.
Right.
If it is something you really enjoy, it might be worth trying.
I've tried
All
it before.
Cool toe. Been enjoying the content.
Appreciate it. What's actually unironically been better than playing game, literally I can do my exact same content, but if I'm playing a game, less, like, there will be less people here. I don't know what it is. Like, I could have just the same size as my cam, could be a video game at the top left, and people will just fucking leave. People don't like it when there's one. I've tried it multiple times. Something that, weirdly enough, is more successful than even just having a game at the top left of my fucking monitor right now and doing my normal content is doing, like, certain scary games, like Welcome to the Game, what did pretty well and was pretty, a lot of people liked. Scrutinized, a lot of people liked, as well as, what was the other? At Dead of Night, a lot of people.
So this kind of takes the love out of it a little bit. Can you imagine Jordan Peterson saying this out loud? Or like to a spouse? Yeah, I don't know. There's nothing wrong with the advice though. Romance is a pretty cool thing.
Only
I think that's nice. And I think a lot of people don't
17% of
understand
you will
that it
stay
will
if I
naturally
play
fall away a
games.
bit in long-term relationships unless you work to maintain it, you know? Because the thing is, romance isn't the same as friendship. There's a sort of different context to the feelings, and it can be very difficult to maintain its existence unless you're willing to put effort into it.
If old memories still upset you, write them down carefully and I'm assuming that requires a lot of extrapolation. Try to make one possible sure.
A lot of people think it just stays
Plan and work diligently to maintain the romance in your
there forever, and it will never change no matter what, and it's just a permanent component of people's beliefs and relationship, which is just not true. Now, the plan and work diligently to maintain bit does kind of take the fun out of it a little bit, but yeah, you know, it's important to... you gotta take it seriously, you know? Gotta take it seriously. Vaush, some of these criticisms aren't fair. I imagine these rules are followed up by chapters that would give more context / meaning to these rules. While that's true, I mean, I guess I could read a 432-page book. The problem is that Jordan Peterson is a shiftless coward who will say things whenever it's, like, convenient to him, and then abandon them later when it's more convenient to believe in other things. So I don't actually give a fuck what the context is. He does this so often, and a lot of the worst stuff that he believes is only expressed through implication. So I don't particularly care what he adds. Most people are going to just see the rules. If he wanted the rules to contain more context, then he could have made them longer, or he could have made them more than one sentence, but he didn't, so there we go. Do not allow yourself to become resentful, deceitful, or arrogant. Okay, don't...
I mean, he is right that most people are just going to look up the rules and not actually get the book, even though the book, to my knowledge, the first one sold incredibly well. I don't know.
Be bad. Be grateful in spite of your suffering. This is a very stoicist perspective here. The problem that I have with this one is that I don't necessarily have an issue with it. The problem is the context in which it's being delivered.
Sounds like a good dream, wise.
Grateful for life? Sure. Grateful to the systems that oppress you? Well, what do you mean exactly? Remember Charlie Kirk when he said that gratefulness is something you should be teaching kids in school? But that was even the point of teaching stuff like to kids? The reason for that is because very far-right people believe that, like, fundamentally, you know, people should know their place. At the end of the day, like, you should know your place, stay in line, and not speak up. That stuff is very, very strange to me. You know what I mean? Like, that idea. Because, by the way, like, Jordan Peterson doesn't follow that rule. People who engage in any kind of political activism don't follow that rule. Be grateful in spite of yourself. Grateful for what?
Is correct.
I feel like the...
Well, yeah, I don't disagree with the idea that we haven't solved certain issues yet in regards to those questions. But disagree with that. But the problem is that goes both ways. The characterization that women are the distractors is one as old as time, right? It's one that has been used to justify, the taking away of women's liberties to be able to present how they please. I think playing into that narrative and being ignorant of it is quite detrimental. Or sorry, excuse me, quite detrimental. It's quite bad. Because if he's ignorant to it, he deserves to be learned on that, or he ought to be learned on that. And if he's knowledgeable of it, then he's playing into a trope knowingly. There is no W out of that. He could have even just simply said widely everybody, but he said explicitly women. And he talked about makeup and things like this. When there are certain liberties that men have been able to take a hold of inside of the workplace, for example, that enable us to be more attractive and therefore more distracting.
The implication here is that a lot of people are whiners. It's the same reason why Charlie Kirk was really like honed in on getting me to admit that I was grateful for some things. Of what relevance is that? You know? Like, I ask you, of what relevance is my gratefulness for the fact that I...
Do we agree with Destiny's take on JP? Basically, he says something that lead to a conservative thinking, but in a way that he can't deny it. I haven't looked over all of his fucking takes again. I have no idea. It's been so long since I've looked at his fucking takes. I mean, his Bill C-16 thing was not really, like, leading to that. He was literally just a conservative talking point. That conservatives, point blank and simple. It was also a misrepresentation of what the bill actually was.
Country. What does my gratefulness do for the world? I guess it informs my perspective. It's not really as important as a lot of other things, though. Are you grateful to anyone? Yeah, of course, the people in my life. But gratefulness is also a way of enforcing exactly docility. Yeah, 100%. The more docile, or the more grateful you are, the more likely you are to become sort of just willfully complacent to the world. Because you're so grateful for all of it, you know? Gratefulness is, on one hand, it's the thing that you are for your loving mother, but on the other hand, it's what little Timmy gets told after he gets
men
one,
act
like,
on it, though?
You know? When little Timmy...
Wait, what do you mean? King
He's like, can I have another one? Can I have some more? And the headmaster smacks him down and says, you should have been grateful for your first. You could have got nothing out there on the streets.
I don't think that's generally, like, true. Wait, are you trying to say that, like, just women, like, men tend to be more attracted to more women than women are attracted to men? Is that what you're trying to say? I can't tell what's happening.
Like, it's you can do it in either direction, you know what I mean?
Whoops,
there are ways that
banging the fuck out of my desk.
And destructive, but yeah. Anyway, those were the 24 rules of life, which for some reason I guess I've never actually talked about on the channel before, which is a little weird. Oh yeah, here's that clip from Jordan Peterson. There are like a million clips from Jordan Peterson, presented from none other than the Twitter squirrel.
Can men and women work together in the workplace?
Yes, I
do
do it.
How do you know?
Because I work with...
Here's a question. Can men and women work together in the workplace?
Yes, I do it.
How do you know?
Because I work with a lot of women.
Right. Well, it's been happening for, 40 years? And things are deteriorating very rapidly at the moment in terms of the relationships between men and women.
So this is what I mean by, like, JP being a fucking clown. First of all, 40 years is basically, like, almost the entire lifespan of a working adult. Like, from 20 to 60, I mean, that's getting close to the entirety of a time. Also, it's not been 40 years. First of all,
lifespan of a working... Does he mean the working career of a adult?
Women started working with men in the 1980s? What?
If women are attracted to men, then men will still be the one to instigate 85% of the relationship... relations, 85% of the... Wait, just because, like, men are the initiators doesn't mean, like, women aren't attracted to men.
Women started getting more prominent in working spaces during the 1960s, 60 years ago. But, yeah, but even then, before then, women still worked, like, all the time. The image we have of women, like, not working up until the second wave feminist movement is mostly constructed through, like, upper middle class white women. You know? In reality, poor women and women of color have been working for a very long time. Do you think that, like, poor black women in the 30s were just like child rearing at home? No, God, no. People have been working.
Is there sexual harassment in the workplace? Yes. Should it stop? That'd be good. Will it? Well, not at the moment it won't, because we don't know what the rules are.
Except sexual harassment was more common in the past. This is what I mean. Jordan Peterson is essentially implying that men and women shouldn't work together, that women should stay at home, or at the very least there should be segregated working spaces, and he's doing it by presenting information that is factually not the case. Women have not been working with men for just 40 years, and women are not now subjected to more sexual harassment than before. What this is a reactionary action against the Me Too movement. Jordan Peterson doesn't like the fact that the Me Too movement is exposing
Actually,
bad
do we have
behavior
the
from
numbers
men,
on
so
harassment?
He's reframing the discussion to being whether or not women should be even able to work with men. It's essentially a way of removing men's responsibilities for the entire broader process of workplace sexual harassment and turning it into a
the
fundamental question
lifespan
about whether or
of
not the two
a
even
career is
together, which
35 years?
A,
Really? I thought people usually worked from like 20 to like 70. Maybe 70. No, definitely not 70. Yeah, 60 sounds more right. Yeah, definitely not 70, right? Yeah, definitely not 70.
Incredibly reactionary and destructive. And B, very, very, very keen on absolving men of responsibilities. Very weird stuff. Very cringe.
Do you think men and women can work in the workplace together?
I don't know.
Without sexual harassment?
We'll see.
I don't know.
How many years will it take for men and women working in the workplace together?
More than 40.
To get a sense.
It's again, I don't know why he doesn't point out that more than 40. Like, keep in mind that JP talks confidently on history. Imagine confidently speaking on history and say
These are really weird non-answers. I remember being very unsatisfied. More than 40. Okay, so are you just going to be saying this till the end of time? Like, we'll see if men and women can work together, and like men and women have been working together for 3,000 years. It's like, how much longer, JP? We'll see. It's like, I don't know. I understand, like, it's a fallacy to expect him to give a specific number, but it's also like, come on, man. Like, come on, just throw us a bone.
We don't know what the rules are. Like, what? Here's a rule. How about no makeup in the workplace?
Why would that be a rule?
Why should you wear makeup in the workplace? Isn't that sexually provocative?
No.
So again, this is the no ideology guy.
Well, so it can be, for sure. But this argument of whether or not makeup can be sexually provocative, and then therefore why ought we do that? We could do the same thing with fashion. Why isn't there an extremely strict dress code like at like boarding schools? You come in and you have to put on like fucking like at doctors like scrubs, you know? Why isn't this a thing? You know, it's.
This is so the argument that he's about to make is that red lips simulate like the flushed, the flushed features.
Skirts can be provocative. Yeah, stockings can be very provocative. They're stocking fetishes. High heels can be provocative. A well-fitting suit can be provocative. That's literally like what it's made to do, is make you look more structured and square. Certain colors could be more provocative, like as Jordan Peterson is going to get into with the red lips, as Vaush is talking about right now. Certain colors could be more. Are we going to only be able to wear like gray? Like, this is what I mean. The argument that it is more provocative isn't an argument in and of itself. Great example from Mead Dosa. Smells, cologne. Like, are we only going to allow, like, the deodorant that just tries to make you not smell, not, like, certain scented deodorants or scented fragrances? Is that from the Chanel collection number 5? That's banned on the list, Tiffany. That is banned on the list, you bitch. You know that. Like, come on. We need to draw a line somewhere.
A woman during arousal, so let's listen to that, then I'll respond.
Oh,
it's not?
No.
Well, what is it then? What's the purpose of makeup?
Some people would like to just put on makeup.
Why?
Make it look good.
I don't know why.
Why do you make your lips red? Because they turn red during sexual arousal.
Okay. What about eyeshadow? Do women's eye sockets naturally darken during sex as well?
Okay, that's a good beat. I'm sorry, I think that's... What the fuck? I'm sorry, that's just so stupid. I don't know why I find that so funny.
Is that also a thing? What about concealer? Do women suddenly secrete some kind of hormone that smooths their skin during sex? I've just not noticed this. Why are we fixing?
The blemishes are a pretty common thing to like avoid when it comes to like animals and having sex, and we're animals, so.
Fixating on the red lip. By the way, red lipstick? I'm going to be honest, guys. I don't actually see that many people wear red lipstick. Don't most people wear lipstick that's their natural shade?
To my knowledge, a lot of people wear pink lipstick, yeah. Like pinker lipstick rather than like red. Or if it's red, it's like it's closer to pink than like red. Like, people don't typically wear red lipstick, you know, the fucking cherry red shit.
Or like a couple like shade, like tones off or something? Like full on red lipstick. Like that's like a whole look. I mean, I don't think that's super common.
Strange one. You're running a fine line.
When women are aroused, do their nails suddenly like exude pigment? What?
Wait, really?
And by the way,
zone?
Why is Jordan Peterson only talking about how women's makeup accentuates sexualized characteristics in women? What about men? Padded shoulders simulate a wide triangle-shaped frame, which are an indication of physical health and fitness. What about the fact that a lot of men's clothing is kind of inherently phallocentric? In a little way, you know, this is like kind of a more abstract designer argument, but like suits have a belt buckle right above the dick and a tie that points down to the dick when the jacket is opened.
He's not saying that men should act on their urges. It's just that it's going to happen anyway, and if sexual harassment is a big issue, then the dynamics might need to be changed. It's just a generic conservative opinion, right? But it's one that, I mean, like. The issue of bringing up specifically women, specifically like the makeup and the implications without diving deeper into what he means when he says, well, it's sexually provocative, why would you wear it at work? That can't be your whole argument, because there's a sextillion of things, unintended, that we do at work that are sexually provocative, that we don't really do for a reason. Like, why am I wearing good smelling cologne to work? Why am I wearing, my best blazer to work every single day that I look really fucking good in? Like, hey, you know what? Maybe I just want to look fucking good. Maybe I just want to look fucking good. Maybe I want to feel like I got a 13-inch fucking tree trunk cock in my fucking pants, dude. Maybe that's something I want to do, okay?
It's framed almost like the Fibonacci sequence. It's like the center is like right there. Like, what about that? A ton of men's like clothing is designed and framed in order to accentuate attractive characteristics of men, sexually attractive characteristics. What about wristwatches? People don't wear wristwatches because they're because they need to know what the time is. They have phones for that. People wear wristwatches because they're an archetype of traditional masculinity, the kind of traditional masculinity that a ton of people find attractive. What about beards? Men wear beards because it's usually the way of shoring up. Well, not every guy with a beard, but often because it's a way of showing
Everyone
up.
should wear plain grey baggy clothing to work.
True. Ultimate D23, I think that's based.
With weak jawlines or weaker chins, which can exacerbate the
Yeah, not him, by the way, dude. We've all seen. Somebody's got the footage. Somebody leak the pics. Somebody's got to have the pics of the fucking the goddamn rendered simulated fucking weak ass beta that is Vaush without his beard. Somebody leak the clips. Where's the leaks? Okay, I need some leaks in chat, dude. I need the footage. those fucking pics were hilarious, dude.
Characteristics of their face underneath and indicate they have a higher testosterone level. What about men's glower? Hey guys, the glower that men give during sex, that sort of bewildered, hungry look that they often give, that's a practiced look. Oftentimes it takes place during sex, but oftentimes it's something that men kind of default engage in as a way of sort of projecting a permanent masculine fixture. Oh, have you guys never noticed that? Oh, guys. If you're ever walking
but he
down
said that women have been exploited by many industries. Isn't that kind of acknowledging that problem goes both ways? So what he's trying to say is that, based to my knowledge, is that like women are exploited inside of like media and in Hollywood as sexual objects, and that exploitation, with the liberation of them, their ability to like wear certain attire or have certain kinds of makeup or what have you, in conjunction with both of those things, might result in a hostile work environment, not like meaning they're fighting each other, but a work environment that is not productive due to the depictions of women in media and how they present inside of society, right? That this might result in a hostile work environment, which is something that is true, that might be the case, but it would also be a pretty similar case when it comes to like how men have also been depicted and how men have are changing their attire and are able to when it comes to the workplace as well. There's no reason why this wouldn't apply to men. And so ignoring the man angle of it kind of ignores what I would consider to be the most crucial part. Is essentially what you're saying is like women are temptresses and that like men are not going to be able to control themselves and things like this, where in which what you should be saying is that people by and large are getting more sexualized, and maybe that's not going to result in a great workplace, and how do we avoid doing this and shit like that is what you should be talking about. And he doesn't seem to be giving any good prescriptions on how to deal with it either. Like his prescriptions seem kind of conservative and shit like that. I don't think there's any saving this take.
Walls of any office building, and there's a guy who's trying to look busy. Okay, look at his default facial expression. Oftentimes, there is a practiced default expression that a lot of guys try to adopt, and it's informed by like this steely like masculinity. It's a mating dance, exactly. You guys know what I mean, right? Tell me at least some of you know what I mean, right? A lot of people do. It's somewhat performative. A lot of people don't go like around moment to moment with like their completely neutral facial expression. Yes, the blue steel, of course. Give us a visual example. Like the furrowed brows, the slightly tight lips, the thing you do where you draw your jaw forward so that it's a little more. You've never seen this. I'm just going to show blue steel. Okay.
Blue steel. What if Vaush had no beard? Oh my. Glasses. Listen. I said it before. We gotta get a charity stream going. We gotta see if this is true. We gotta do a charity stream, chat. That's the only way it's gonna happen. We gotta do a charity stream. We gotta get like 1 million in charity dono. All right, we gotta fucking go all out. Pocketbooks fucking rinsed through. Okay, we need all of the cash in the world, and we need this to be the goal. That's what we need. Shave that fucking beard. We gotta know. We gotta know. I gotta know. At this point, it's honestly taxing my real life relationships as to whether or not this is the truth. Vaush, no beard, looks like my neighbor. There's no way his beard is carrying his whole jawline that hard. I gotta know. I don't know. Do you know? I don't know. All right, we gotta know. Okay, we have a moral right to know. Okay, we have a right to know what this man looks like without a beard. Okay.
You know, it may be okay. You know what?
I linked young Vaush. Yeah, I saw that. But like, that's young Vaush. I want to know modern Vaush. What does he look like without this beard?
People talk about it before. Maybe this conversation's too advanced for you guys. Here we go. Okay, this is what every guy looks like in an office building. You can just take it from me. Okay, those of you who have never worked before, they're all just walking around like this. Okay. Now, Jordan Peterson, how do you answer to this one? Jordan Peterson, how do you answer to this one? Jordan Peterson, do you think the Bogdanov twins should be allowed to work? Important questions are being asked today. They fall on deaf ears. Don't beat. Okay, stop. Let's finish this damn video. The point that I'm trying to get at here is that Jordan Peterson's argument is ridiculous. He's implying that men and women can't work together, and he's implying that, well, he's basically outright stating that women wearing makeup is irresponsible because it elicits sexual attraction. But all elements of fashion, design, and personal presentation, or at least many of them, are informed by an attempt to make yourself more sexually attractive. The clothes we wear fit us in a certain way. When we wear expensive clothing, they're usually
maybe
used
he
to
learned the
sort of
way
act as
of
a
Chuck
status symbol
Norris.
or
He
demonstrate
cannot
a
shave the
degree of
beard because
fashion
behind
coherence,
it
wealth,
it's not a chin,
opulence,
but a
or general
fist.
self-awareness. When you wear clothing that accentuates your fitness, that also contributes to it. When
Open a
that
Wicked's
accentuates your
image
body parts
link.
over other body parts, like for example,
I didn't see it.
people wearing higher inseam shorts versus lower inseam shorts. These are all things that people do. Some times at least to inform people's attraction.
Oh my god!
But Jordan Peterson is
dude.
hyper-fixating on women's makeup. You know why?
Holy
Because it's a big-
shit! All right, much love to Vaush. I gotta know. We gotta know. We gotta do charity or whatever the fuck. We gotta know. It's at this point it's a moral situation certainly.
blaming argument, because it's essentially saying like, oh well, never before have women been harassed like this. Maybe we can't even work together. Maybe women shouldn't even wear makeup. The implication there is that women are at fault for the harassment they experience because of the makeup that they wear.
That's why. Why do you put rouge on your cheeks? Same reason.
I mean, look,
Also, the fact that like Jordan Peterson thinks that the archetypical woman wearing makeup is red lipstick and rouge on your cheeks really is an indication that he doesn't get out much. What kind of makeup do you think people wear? Seriously, like does Jordan Peterson think this right here is like the average working woman, like out on the job? Like this is just when a woman goes out wearing makeup, that's just they're just all like that all the time, you know? Probably not. I think your average like woman in makeup probably, I mean, just looks like this. Well, this is a model, of course, so you know, of course, we don't necessarily normally like look like this. But no, wait, actually, hold on. Let me try to find a person who's less hot. I'm trying to make a normie argument here. Let me bring it back down to that. Let me bring it slightly back down. Yeah, here we go. This is what I think of when I think of like a woman wearing makeup. Forgive the resolution or whatever.
I'd say this is 80% of the women that you'll find. Maybe a little bit stronger eyeshadow and stuff like that, but like, yeah, this is probably, yeah, I agree.
Not about rouge on your cheeks.
I mean, is he
and
wrong?
red lips. It's about concealer. That's the thing that.
Yeah, concealer's the big one for sure. Concealer and eyeliner, I think, are really big ones that like people really do be playing into nowadays.
That's what a lot of them spend most of their time on.
Wait, what do you mean? This is quite an average look, I would say, for most women outside. So, like I said, maybe eyeliner, eyeshadow, and shit like that. Yeah, maybe that little more of that. But other than that, yeah, this is a pretty average person outside.
It's just making their skin look smooth, which is, by the way, something men also care about
I
for
agree.
themselves.
Oh, my
That's
bad.
makeup, Dan. Everyone's wearing makeup all the time, okay? I can't tell how many of these fucking pictures have been face-tuned. Yeah, all of them, so it's really hard to find. Anyway, when I see this woman, I do not think sexual arousal is being elicited. You know what I mean? This is JP's typical woman. Yeah, here we go. When you have sultry ladies like Jessica Rabbit in the workplaces, how are you surprised when there are problems with men and women? Like, yeah, okay. Finish the clip, finish the segment.
How about high heels? What are they for?
about high heels?
What about them? They're there to exaggerate sexual attractiveness. That's what high heels do.
All the shit that we wear exaggerates sexual attractiveness. Also, what are the origins of high heels?
Wasn't
Didn't
it
we
the
invent high
butcher
heels to
meme?
torture women or something?
I
High
always
heel
heard
shoes
it
were
was
first
the
worn in the 10th
butcher
century as a
meme.
way to help the Persian cavalry keep their shoes in their stirrups. We salute our
There
ancestors.
you go.
Every woman who's wearing high heels, okay? Just
I knew that shit was fake. I hate it when you see the fucking things. Like, these things were originally used by X, Y, and Z in a fucking YouTube video, dude. Never trust them fucking shits.
Just imagine a Persian horseman charging through the steppe, beheading Greeks or whatever. High heels were originally made for men. I think, don't people wear high heels because they make your legs look longer and they also make you look taller? That's like the main thing, right? So making you look taller is irresponsible? Do men not do things that make you look taller?
Now, I'm not saying that people shouldn't use sexual displays in the workplace. I'm not saying that. But I am saying that that is what they're doing, and that is what they're doing.
Do you feel like a serious woman who does not want sexual harassment?
So I'm not saying that we shouldn't do those things. I just opened earlier by saying one rule we could implement to allow men and women to work together is to ban makeup. This is what I mean. Like, he never actually states anything. Here's a plan. What if women couldn't wear makeup? 15 seconds later. Now, I'm not saying that women shouldn't wear makeup in the workplace. I'm just saying words.
In the workplace, do you feel like if she wears makeup in the workplace, that she is somewhat being critical?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me just hear that one more time.
Does not want
What they're doing, and that is what they're doing.
do you feel like a serious woman who does not want sexual harassment in the workplace, do you feel like if she wears makeup in the workplace, that she is somewhat being critical?
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's Jordan Peterson. You're asking for it.
Like-
Literally, you're asking for it. If you don't want to be sexually harassed but you wear makeup, you're a hypocrite.
I don't know how you can argue out of that one. That's like I don't know how we can meme that like he isn't. Not gonna lie, young Vaush makes me think about cutting my hair short again. I know I've seen this before. I don't know. It's just I don't believe it. I don't know. Fake. I don't know. It's just faked. Deep fakes. I'm firmly of the belief that the footage or the pics showing him without the beard that we saw, the 3 pictures, is the truth. I'm of the firm belief that that is the truth, and I will stop at nothing till I find the truth.
That, like, yeah. Again, why do people
Wait,
take
that
this guy
wasn't
seriously?
Nick Fuentes? I know, right? He looked like Nick Fuentes.
I guess you guys wouldn't. I'm kind of preaching to the
That's what
choir.
I'm
but
saying.
Yeah, a lot of people pretend that Jordan Peterson isn't some kind of obviously partisan, like, misogynistic political hack, but he is, and you can dress that up as much as you want, but unfortunately, it remains a fact. His rhetoric is very good for his type, that's why he's popular. Well, he's just a daddy figure. It's just a bunch of... With respect, okay? There are a bunch of, like, kind of loser guys out there right now who have very little in the way of, like, self-confidence and a feeling of, like, positive masculinity. So what they're looking for is a way of legitimizing their negative feelings and trying to find and build some kind of modern identity around their masculinity, and they don't know how to do it, okay? Like, not many people are building their masculinity these days around, like, cowboy movies, because that used to be a really, really big masculine archetype, and it still is, depending on what part of America you live in. But for the most part, I think a lot of people are looking for some kind of other way of approaching these issues, of trying to find ways to, like, shore up their lost masculinity. And,
I'm not
that's why we
fucking
look at those 12
clicking
rules for
that
life.
link.
That's why I think that Jordan Peterson's been so effective. He touches on so many components of traditional self-help mythology that it's really easy to fall into a spiral. But when you look at what Jordan Peterson actually says about self-help, it is, at its best, kind of okay, sort of samey, generic drivel. And that it's worse, it's explicitly politically partisan and deeply reactionary. It's pretty weird stuff. I think a lot of guys who feel lost don't really want to be patronized, which is why Jordan Peterson appeals as well, because he never comes off as, like, condescending. He comes off as sympathetic to incels, but never like there's weak little baby people who need him to reach out and personally lift them up from the dirt. Instead, he's just, he's just some wise paternal figure. Boss, did you ever call him a Nazi? No, I said he peddles a Nazi conspiracy theory, which he does, again.
This is important context. I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't really care. Maybe catch me with it another time. I don't really care.
The postmodern neo-Marxist is just a modern incarnation of the cultural Bolshevist conspiracy theory the Nazis ran with, who said that Jews ran essentially every cultural institution, the banks, everything else in Germany, and they peddled academia in a way to promote anti-masculinity and anti-white values. It's basically just the modern incarnation of that. You just don't say Jewish people, you just say them, and kind of let the other conspiracies, like, fill in the gaps. I mean, whatever works. Yeah, globalists, SJWs, you know. Do you feel you're too hyperbolic when it comes to conservatives generally? No, not even slightly. No, I really don't think that. People say that I am, and then the conservatives go ahead and reiterate to me why my criticisms are valid. But anyway, with regards to Jordan Peterson, I just think that a lot of his self-help stuff has been successful because
It's not
there is,
aging
at its
well.
root, kind of a fundamentally reactionary component to a lot of the, way less, not so happy, meaningless, listless guys, where a lot of them feel like their masculinity has been stolen from them by a cucked world, and they need, like, Daddy Peterson to give it back or something, or at the very least to show them the way. Like Ugandan Knuckles, you know the meme? Show them the way? Exactly, like that.
Whoa,
and I just don't
that's
think
pretty
it works.
racist, bro.
Because honest to God, like, I gotta wonder, like, how many people's lives have really been made better from Jordan Peterson? Is he even
Mine
like,
is.
that loved for his self-help? Because he didn't
Love
become famous
grifting.
for
Are you a
self-help.
wise guy, huh?
He became famous for the C-16 bill. The one that he lied about, the one that still nobody's been arrested over, but he said like dramatically that he was willing to be carried off to the gulags as billions and billions of free-loving Canadians were sent to jail for misgendering like xenogender people, and still nothing happened. Yeah, he wasn't known for his books. He was known for his well, his political hackery. Really, he was known for being an alarmist. He also got famous for his anti-feminism. Yeah, probably not the best representative for self-help in existence, you know. I really think like men have to construct a new positive archetype, a new positive identity to build themselves around, but Jordan Peterson's a bad advocate for it. First of all, the dude's a fucking wreck. Second of all, he's miserable. And third of all, it seems like all of the shit he actually cares about pushing has less to do with self-help and has a lot more to do with pushing a reactionary like Christian nationalist worldview, which is not great.
Yeah, no, I completely agree.